Ready? Okay. Good morning, and welcome to the commencement for the Archer School for Girls, class of 2019. And I'm Frank Marshall, chair of Archer's Board of Trustees, and I just really want to welcome you to this glorious day. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I'm thrilled to be here. I really stand here in awe of these young women who so beautifully and courageously exemplify Archer's ambitious and joyful mission to graduate the future female leaders of this country. Archer was founded 23 years ago, yet our mission is more relevant than ever. Despite the inequities that persist in our world today, we see at Archer how girls excel when they learn in an environment designed specifically to promote not only their competence, but their confidence as well. The extraordinary accomplishments of this class embolden and inspire us all as we look ahead to Archer's future and imagine how our school can continue to be a leader in the empowerment and education of girls. On behalf of the entire Board of Trustees who are here today, I want to congratulate the class of 2019 and all of you who are in the family. It's now my honor to introduce our head of school, Elizabeth English, whose enduring leadership continues to take Archer and our students to new heights. Elizabeth.
You look really beautiful. Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much, Frank. I want to give a very special welcome to those of you who've traveled distances to celebrate this amazing class, and a special welcome home to all the Archer alumni who are with us today. Before we begin, I'd like to thank the staff and facilities crew who made this beautiful day possible. I'd also like to ask all of our faculty to please stand so that we can all applaud them and thank them for their scholarship and devotion to these girls. Really just an incredibly skilled faculty, but also a faculty who teaches with so much heart and creativity. We are so lucky to have them all. I'd also, of course, like to take a moment to recognize the Board of Trustees for their generosity and service to the Archer School for Girls, guided at all times by their belief in the unique mission of this school and their pride in the empowered young women that we graduate, like each and every one of the girls who sits behind me. In particular, I'd like to recognize Board Chair and Archer alumni parent Frank Marshall, whose optimistic, even-keeled leadership made the opening of that Diana Meehan Center possible this year. It is in large measure thanks to the humbling generosity of Frank Marshall and his partner and trustee, Kathleen Kennedy, that we now have a future-facing center, academic center worthy of our faculty's creativity and our students' unbridled achievement. On behalf of the entire Archer community, thank you, Frank. Thank you for your steadiness at the helm and for your commitment to continuing the dream that our founders began. And speaking of Archer's visionary founders, we are fortunate to have two of our three co-founders with us here today. Would you please stand, Ms. Megan Calloway and Dr. Diana Meehan. Finally, a very special welcome to our guest speaker, Ms. Channing Dungy. whose pioneering spirit and success as a leading executive in the entertainment industry, a field in which women remain woefully underrepresented at the highest levels, stands as an important role model for the class of 2019 and really young women everywhere. Our graduates are excited and grateful to have a speaker who is so obviously an honorary Archer girl, and ambitious and joyful not only in her leadership, but in her willingness to share with others what she has learned along the way. Thank you, Ms. Dungy. So this is really just a celebration, and boy, celebrate we must. For the breadth of your accomplishments, class of 2019, is stunning. You've worked really hard, and not just for the sake of getting into college, but because you followed your passions and your hearts. You are a class of bold thinkers and writers who continue to hold Archer in the top ranks for student writing and publications. For example, you contributed to yet another distinguished year for the Oracle, Archer's online news site, including a Best of Show award at the National High School Journalism Convention, a gold medalist critique from the Columbia Scholastic Press Association, Archer's third online pacemaker award from the National Scholastic Press Association, basically the Pulitzer of high school journalism. One of you was named to the National Scholastic Press Association Honor Roll for Student Journalists. And finally, you have helped build a journalism program worthy of our fourth First Amendment Press Freedom Award. This award recognizes private and public high schools across the country that actively support, teach, and protect First Amendment rights and responsibilities of students and teachers. Archer was one of only 12 schools in the entire country to earn this distinction. You helped our yearbook, Hestia's Flame, earn a gold medal and All-Columbian Honor Award, including a first-class rating with a mark of distinction from the National Scholastic Press Association, and one of you earned a silver torch for this year's beautiful yearbook, Horizon. One of you will be published in one of the country's oldest journals of poetry and fiction. And out of hundreds of nominees, one of you was named among only 6 finalists for the California High School Speech Association Student of the Year. 8 of you won bronze, silver, and gold medals in the French and Spanish national language exams. One of you earned the Senior of the Year Award from the American Association of French Teachers, and one of you was published in the European Journal of Biotechnology and Bioscience. Hang on, this is the impressive part. For your research on antimicrobial effects of propolis and bee venom, the first Archer student to be published in a peer-reviewed scientific journal while still in high school. Yes. You edited and contributed to Pillars of Salt, Archer's art and literary magazine, which was named the top-ranked student magazine in California. Only 28 first-class winners were named nationally, and Pillars of Salt was the only magazine in California to earn that distinction. In community service, one of you received the Brentwood Community Council's Youth Citizen Award for founding a nonprofit that installs community gardens in underserved neighborhoods. 8 others of you earned gold awards for your service to Cedars-Sinai, Food Forward, Found Animals, We Schools, and Children's Hospital Los Angeles, just to name a few. And right here at Archer, you brought impassioned leadership and heightened the Archer community's awareness on issues of environmental sustainability. You chaired and served on Archer's Honor Education Council, led our student affinity groups to become the best attended clubs in the school, and helped our community have open and honest conversations about equity and inclusivity. And you were skilled and patient peer mediators and mentors to your younger Archer sisters. In the arts, you garnered 11 awards from National Youth Arts for theater productions and student performances, including for the phenomenal show Blue Stockings, lead performance in a play, and 3 of you for supporting performance in a play. Your leadership in theater helped Archer earn 33 total nominations, competing against shows from 240 schools in the US, Canada, and the UK. Amazing. In visual arts and writing, you led Archer in winning 12 gold keys and nearly 12 silver keys in the 2019 Scholastic Art and Writing Awards. One of you won a national silver medal for your ceramics, a distinction given to only 1% of the 340,000 submissions nationwide. And while you were doing all that, you ran the 8th annual Archer Film Festival, got the attention of the Hollywood Reporter, and garnered national recognition and accolades for one of the best student film festivals in the world. In athletics, there are 24 scholar athletes sitting on this stage. 4 of you were 3-sport athletes. Together, you led 6 varsity teams to cinch league championships in this year alone. And by the way, they did this literally with no on-campus facilities due to construction and the simple fact that we still have no gym. Undoubtedly, you lost more time traveling to and from practices than any other team, and still you dominated through dedication, perseverance, practice, and true Archer teamwork. 2 of you led varsity tennis to an undefeated league season and Liberty League championship. 5 members of this class helped lead the varsity soccer team to quarterfinals of CIF playoffs and a Liberty League championship. 2 of you captained varsity softball to a league championship and first-round playoff run. 3 of you led track and field to a league championship and CIF prelim qualification, and 1 of you earned first place in league in the pole vault and long jump. Five seniors led beach volleyball to a first-time advance to the second round of playoffs, and 7 of these seniors led swimming to yet another league championship, CIF prelim run, and to the CIF finals, and that is not bad for a school with no pool. And as you look to the future, class of 2019, you were admitted to 119 colleges in the US, Canada, and Europe. 81% were admitted to 1 or more of your top 3 choices. 59% were awarded scholarships. 38% of these girls plan to major in the STEM fields. And we have our first ever US Naval Academy. Just a little aside, so that student's mom said, oh, she was a little bit worried that you might disapprove of the Naval Academy. And I said, we need Archer girls in the US military now more than ever. So that is quite a litany of accomplishments, class of 2019. They give us lots of confidence in your future. But what has given me the greatest confidence in your future is the love and gratitude you have shown one another and your school over the past few days. Ruby, Madison, Sammy, you gave some of the most moving speeches I can recall. And they weren't speeches about achievement. They were reflections about connection, kindness, and love, which we know at Archer are the qualities that will carry you the furthest. One senior on dessert night handed a card to me and all of her teachers. It read, in part, "My mother and grandparents taught me to be strong and kind. I'm working on that. To be creative without limits. I'm pretty good at that. and to be forever thankful to those who helped me along the way. The way I can repay you is by passing along to others the same kindness you've shown me. Yes, I'll do that to honor and remember you by. Knowing that you'll pay forward the kindness and love that you received at Archer, class of 2019, is what I'm most proud of in you. On behalf of the entire faculty and staff, congratulations to each and every one of you. We will miss you.
Good morning. We are thrilled to be joined today by Channing Dungey, Vice President, Original Series at Netflix. In her role, Ms. Dungey partners with Cindy Holland in setting strategic direction, as well as overseeing a large portion of Netflix slate, including some of the company's overall deals with high-profile, prolific producers. Prior to joining Netflix, Ms. Dungey served as president of ABC Entertainment, overseeing all development, programming, marketing, and scheduling operations for ABC Primetime and Late Night. During her tenure at ABC, Ms. Dungey created a collaborative environment that supported visionary storytelling and became a hub for talented and provocative producers to realize their vision. With this in mind, she shepherded a wide variety of successful programming such as The Good Doctor, Roseanne, and The Conners, as well as the return of American Idol. Additionally, she helped invigorate long-running series such as Grey's Anatomy, which she worked on since its first season and has broken television records as the longest-running primetime medical drama. Ms. Dungey, who graduated magna cum laude from UCLA's School of Theater, Film, and Television, has been a visiting professor at the school and serves on the school's executive board. She is also a founding and current member of Step Up, a national nonprofit membership organization dedicated to helping girls living in under-resourced communities to fulfill their educational potential. Ms. Dungey is a Los Angeles member of BAFTA and serves on the board of governors of the Motion Picture Television Fund. She also sits on the board of Children's Institute, a nonprofit agency working to transform the lives of children exposed to adversity and poverty in Los Angeles. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Channing Dungey.
Thank you, Juliet, for that lovely and warm introduction, and Elizabeth, thank you for your kind words as well. I'd like to welcome the faculty, staff, honored guests, parents, families, friends, and the very reason for our presence here today, the members of the graduating class of 2019. Congratulations. It's an honor and a privilege for me to be here, and I truly mean that. It means a lot that you would invite me here to share whatever wisdom and insight I've gained since I sat in seats like yours. You are a fantastic group of young women. You are graduating from an amazing school, and the future that lies before you is very, very bright. I'm excited for you. And if I'm being honest, I'm a little bit jealous. You are about to embark on an incredible adventure, and this is the first day of the rest of your lives. Now, when I sat down to think about what I wanted to share with you today, I realized I wanted some perspective on where your journeys began. And most of you were born in late 2000 or 2001. Now, what those years call to mind immediately for me are the Bush versus Gore election. Do any of you even know what the phrase hanging chads means? And of course, the terrible tragedy of the September 11 attacks. But there were obviously other notable things that were happening then. So I did a little Googling, which is something that you've always been able to do. When I graduated high school, we still had to look things up in the good old encyclopedia. So at any rate, let's talk about 2001. A lot of stuff happened. In January of that year, Wikipedia launched, and where would we be without Wikipedia? In April, the Netherlands became the first country in the world to declare same-sex marriage legal. And it was a pretty good year for entertainment. The Sopranos, Sex and the City, The West Wing were all Emmy winners. Some of you may have picked up on these old shows on streaming. The first Harry Potter film was released, and so was the first Fast and the Furious film, and curiously enough, they're still making those. Oh, and Beyonce and Jay-Z started dating, and that seems to have worked out okay. But the real game changer is that the first iPod was released in October of that year. And this is a big part of the reason that you are truly digital natives. The iPod and MP3s upended the music business, but more important, the iPod was the precursor to the now ubiquitous iPhone. And none of you really remember a time before iPhones existed, given that they launched in 2007, which means that you were the first kindergartners whose parents probably snapped first day of school pics on an iPhone. So now, of course, our phones are our everything. Besides using them to communicate, mostly through texting, we use them for banking and shopping and making dinner reservations. We make notes, we book travel, we count our steps. We listen to music, we watch television and movies, and of course, there's social media. And as incredible as it is to be living in this highly connected digital era, it worries me that we now spend so much time interacting with the phones in our hands and not enough time interacting with each other and the world around us. Which leads me to the first thing that I want to share with you today. I want to encourage you to live in the world. Some of you will likely be traveling this summer to celebrate this remarkable achievement. And while it's tempting to do it all for the gram, I encourage you to take some time to explore without your phone. Find ways to be, yeah. Find ways to be present where you are, rather than worrying so much about capturing the moment on your device. There's new research that seems to indicate that when we take a picture or we upload a video, we're subliminally telling our brain not to worry about holding on to that information, which, if it's actually true, is more than a little bit disturbing. So get out there and live in the world and try to do it without your device. For me, living in the world also means living generously and with curiosity. You are never too young to be a mentor, and you are never too old to learn something new. Each of you has so much to offer. Find a cause that you're passionate about and devote some energy to it. I'm not able to stay and celebrate at your reception today because I'm on the board of a charity called Step Up, which helps teenage girls living in under-resourced communities fulfill their potential to become college-bound, career-focused women. And our annual Inspiration Awards lunch is today. I love working with Step Up and being a role model for the young women in the program, but I also learn a lot from them, including recently where I was a bit lost on how to embed photos in a Google Slides deck. And one of our teens gave me the lowdown on how to do it. Talk about digital natives. Be generous with your knowledge and with your time. Ask questions and really listen. Visit new places. Hear new voices. Be engaged. Be present. Live in the world. And while you're out there, take some risks. Right now, you are gloriously untethered and unencumbered. And I don't mean to imply that you don't have responsibilities. Some of you have part-time jobs. Some of you are responsible for caring for younger siblings or aging parents. But right now, beginning with this moment, you are free to make your own choices. You are free to make decisions about the life that you want to live, and the path before you is rich with possibility. Now, I know that may be hard to see, especially given that everything in your life that's led to this moment. In large part, your life up until now has been prescribed by other people. There have been a lot of rules and guidelines you've had to need to follow to get you to this point. Now you're here, and I want to encourage you to throw that rule book out the window. This is a time to get outside your comfort zone. There's an entire universe of possibility out there just waiting to be explored. There will never be a better time to take some chances and take some risks. I'm a big believer in risk, and one way to define risk is as the intentional interaction with uncertainty. Now, I like that definition because it uses the word intention. It implies that there's a strategy behind the risk one takes. But to me, the most important word in that sentence is uncertainty. An intentional interaction with uncertainty. Because isn't that where all the greatest things in life come from? From daring to do and say and be the things that have never before been done or said or been? From asking the questions that haven't been asked? From giving it a shot and taking a chance? And if you fail, so what? It's just part of the process. If you fail, then you learn. And you figure out how to do it differently the next time. That's it. That's all that happens. I mean, sometimes there's disappointment, And sometimes there are real financial implications to failure. But those costs are the costs of experience. And I'm not lying when I tell you that every good thing that's happened to me in my life has happened because I was brave enough to take a risk. Deciding to turn my back on my pre-law plans and my poli-sci major and applying to the School of Theater, Film, and Television. Deciding to date a guy in spite of the fact that he lived thousands of miles away, who became my husband. Leaving a film career to pursue one in broadcast television, and then leaving broadcast to pursue adventures in streaming. Being brave enough to embark on the emotional journey that is adoption, and becoming the mother of 2 amazing kids. So when you get to college, don't just take the classes where you're confident you'll get an A. Go out there and get some C's. No. All right, I don't mean that literally, but if there's a class in a subject that's outside your comfort zone, experience it. If there's an internship you're curious about, go after it. You won't remember the shots you took that failed, but you will always remember the shots that you failed to take. So try new things and take some risks. Now, as I mentioned, I have 2 children, a son and a daughter, and as an aside, my daughter this morning on the way to school wanted to hear the speech, and as I was reading it to her, she says, "Wait, Mom, it's a school that's just all girls?" I was like, "Yeah," and she's like, "That's so cool." Anyway, she's 6 and a half, and the half is very important to her. She's a bright girl. She's asking all sorts of questions, starting to figure out how she fits into the world. And one of my responsibilities as a mother is to help her discover her voice and become confident in who she is and what she believes. But I can already see how interactions with her peers sometimes cause her to doubt her opinions and tempt her to revise what she thinks to fit with what others are saying or doing. Now, when she's a little older, I have a story that I want to tell her about something that happened to me that I will tell you now. I've shared it before many times, but I continue to share it because I think that it's important and relevant in finding your own voice and confidence. When I landed my first real executive job, it was thrilling. But I was young, and I was a woman, and I was working at a place that was well known in town as a really aggressive, testosterone-fueled place to work, which made the Monday morning staff meetings more than a little bit intimidating. So at first I didn't talk very much, and when I did, it was usually only to echo a comment that had already been made by someone else. But after a few weeks, something happened. I read a script that really spoke to me. It moved me, and it made me feel something the way that great pieces of writing do, and I was genuinely excited to talk about it in the staff meeting. Until the meeting started, and senior exec after senior exec had negative things to say about the script that I loved. My excitement shifted to embarrassment and self-doubt, and a little voice in my head started thinking, maybe I have no taste. Maybe the things I like are totally silly. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. So I kept my thoughts to myself and I said nothing. Later that afternoon, I was talking with a colleague who had become a bit of a mentor for me, and I told her about what happened, expecting her to respond by saying something like, "Ugh, I would have done the same thing." Instead, she looked me squarely in the eye and she said, "Well, then today you failed. Not just yourself, but the company." Flabbergasted and a little bit horrified, I asked her what she meant, and I've never forgotten what she said to me next. "We hire you for your opinion, and the minute you cease to have one, you cease to have value." Now, that script that I loved ended up selling to a different studio, and it became a moderate success, but the lesson I learned was far more beneficial than making that particular movie ever could have been, that my opinion has value. So if you really love something, whatever it may be, advocate for it, pursue it, do anything and everything in your power to give it life, even if everyone around you doesn't get it or tells you it's ridiculous, because your opinion, your point of view, it has a value. And the biggest mistake you can make is to let it be silenced. You won't always win the day, but you should always believe in and fight for the things that you love. And sometimes, when you give voice to your opinion and you think that you're alone, you will find that you are not. And that your bravery will help others to find their voice and realize their value. And when that happens, it's incredible. Own your voice. Trust your voice. Use your voice. Figure out what you believe in and fight for it. Now, I don't want to talk much today about politics, and I don't need to. You are all smart, engaged women who are paying attention to what's happening in our country and in our world. You're all adults now, and you know what it means to be a responsible citizen of our city and our country and our planet. We as women have power. Look at the wave of women elected to Congress this year, a record high of 127 women, many of them diverse. So when you see things happening, yeah, right? That deserves. So when you see things happening around you that are counter to your values and beliefs, don't be afraid to step up. Act with purpose and determination. Now, I realize that's not always easy to do. These are complicated times, scary times in some ways. But in uncertain times, opportunity exists. And opportunity provides the chance to create meaningful and lasting change. Use your voice. Vote your choice. And as you go forward into this next awesome phase of your life, be confident in yourself. One of the insidious things about this world is that as women, we're constantly barraged with messaging from media that tells us that we're not pretty enough, that we're not thin enough, that we're not popular enough, that our lives aren't fancy enough. The first thing that I would say to that is, don't accept criticism from anyone that you wouldn't take advice from, which pretty much rules out all the social media trolls, but probably a lot of other people as well. And then I would share this quote from the writer Nora McInerney, who was asked what advice she would give to her younger self. And she said, "Let me hold your face in my hands and say this loud and clear. What other people say about you is none of your business. You are not on this earth to be palatable to every person that you meet. You are fine on your own. And when you stop begging the wrong people for love, the right people will love you so much, you'll know what all those songs you love were written about. Your life is going to be better than you'll ever imagine and harder than you'll know. All of it is temporary. All of it is worth it. So go forward and stand up straight." So remember, you are the reason that you are here today. Your dreams, your goals, your passions. That's what got you through all the hard work that brought you to this day. So when the doubts come, and they will, don't buy into them. Believe in your abilities. Be confident in your inner and outer beauty. Trust your inner voice and remember that you are enough exactly as you are. The poet Mary Oliver famously asked, "Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" I hope you choose to be generous, kind, to be grateful, and humble. I hope you choose to be a mentor to the young and to respect the wisdom of the old. I hope you take time each day to exercise your body and your mind. I hope you live joyously, unselfishly, and courageously. I hope you lead by example. Be fearless. Be badass. Be trailblazers. Be the women that my daughter and her generation can look up to. And embrace every moment of this adventure that beckons you. Congratulations, Archer Class of 2019. I can't wait to see what you become.
It is easy to capture a moment. You can spend time falling in love with the details, the rises and falls, the mountains that make up a second of time. I am sock sliding down the language hallway in a khaki skirt, sitting in a square on the grass playing crab soccer. I am holding back laughter in the middle of an honors US history Harkness discussion. I'm trying to find the lights in the black box, sure there is a dead person standing behind me. I'm sitting in the audience of a graduation ceremony, wondering how it would happen, how I could ever grow up. It is easy to capture these things. I could write pages about the way the sun used to set over the basketball nets, and about the constant squeak of my hiking boots in the dim, misty mornings of the Pacific Northwest, and about listening to the upper school orchestra play. I could write miles about taking the late bus in the rain, reading The Handmaid's Tale by flashlight. If you look at these things separately, it's easy to talk about them. But connecting the moments and seeing how your world has grown, how these experiences have become a story, this is harder. It is more emotional, but more meaningful. It will take me years to truly remember and capture the narrative of this world of Archer. I will have to grow up all the way before I can figure out how it was that I ever grew up at all. I've noticed the paths of this story in the looking glass of in-between moments. On my first Aero Week, I am so homesick, and one night towards the end, some members of my group invite me to climb the top of the mountain with them. We're not technically allowed to do this, but we do it anyway, and it takes a long time. When we get to the top, the sun is just beginning to rest on the peaks of nearby mountains. Someone starts to howl, and then we are all howling. Another strand in the narrative is the May of 7th grade. It is the night of Shakespeare on the Green, and they're doing Romeo and Juliet. I'm lying on a blanket with a friend whose voice still sounds new, whose laugh still surprises me. She has offered me a piece of gum, and I've dropped it, and I can't find it in the dark, and I'm trying so hard to hide my laughter, because it's the scene where Juliet is crying over Romeo's dead body and getting ready to stab herself. And in the moment, it was only laughter, the sort of thing you'd call a good day. And then, suddenly, it is my senior year, and I'm getting ready for my last Archer show. We're doing stage makeup and lacing up corsets, and someone is playing music, and my friend is laughing, and suddenly, I am breathless. I notice, for a moment, how familiar her laugh is. As familiar as my breathing, the way her voice blends into my heartbeat. It is true then, I am suddenly struck, that time has gone by. It is impossible, but it has. In her book, Bluets, Maggie Nelson says that she has heard that pain can be converted, as it were, by accepting the fundamental impermanence of all things. Maybe it is smarter to believe in impermanence. To anticipate the temporary landscape of the world is to leave behind your footprints as if they were made in water. In the end, this is probably the easiest thing to do. But I can't fully believe in impermanence. It's true that nothing lasts, but my experience has taught me to treat memory as a living thing. Regardless of whether or not we turn around to look back, our past whispers around us like wind, like echoes. Ignoring these echoes is the easiest thing to do, growing up without protest. But I believe in seasons, and I believe that Archer was the springtime of my life. Sorry. It will come back and visit me, reappearing in raindrops and in the center of purple flowers. It will peek its head out of grass stains and costume racks, warm blankets and beetles on notebook pages. The memory of it will come when the leaves start to spill, when Friday comes around. I already know this as if I have experienced it before. It will happen when I hear laughter, the tuning of cellos, children singing. It will surprise me when I have a great cup of coffee, or when I start a new book, when my feet touch the ocean, when I encounter a flickering blue light. In between minutes, in between smiles, I will look in the mirror and see myself suddenly, not as a college student or an adult or an actor or a writer or as anything else I believe myself to be, but as a girl who believes in fairies. 2 braids and a khaki skirt with a tucked-in polo shirt and skin knees from falling too hard in rehearsal and eyes that are always about to burst into laughter. The beginning of something wild. I will meet her eyes and she will laugh and wave her fingers and I will think, oh look, there's spring. It will last for only a moment. But eventually spring will come around again. Perhaps when I walk into a room with a big fireplace and remember the early mornings when I lay on the couches in the library drinking something sweet, watching the clock to wake a friend up from a first period nap. Or when I walk into an afternoon sunshine drizzle and am suddenly aware of what it felt like to lie underneath the fountain on my back, listening to the laughter of my friends and the way music used to dance through a Friday lunchtime. I will recognize it when a school bus passes in the rain, and remember leaning on a friend's shoulder, half asleep, headphones in, hearing the dim murmur of morning voices and letting the minutes tick by, almost imperceptible. I'll wave back to these memories. Sometimes they will make me laugh. Other moments they will feel ghost-like and unfamiliar, or almost excitingly new, sometimes as familiar as my hands. And then summer will come. A different sort of memory, a sound of something that hasn't happened yet. And I will come home to the present, to the story being written, and leaves will open and fall. I will recognize spring in each of your faces, my friends, and in every face that looks even a little bit like yours, in whispers as curious as yours, in passion as serious as yours, and in anything that makes me laugh harder than my eyes or my stomach can handle. Though I have little faith in the rest of the world to make me laugh as hard as you do. I stand in the middle of a blooming place and remember the naked truth of it. These intertwining roots of unlikely trees, these friendships of a childhood garden, this army on a journey of saturated green. And I think it may be the same for you, one way or another. In whatever form it comes in, spring will come. There is something here stronger than impermanence. I will leave you with this, my sisters. What I have learned here is only how much I have yet to know. But of this, I am sure. You are the springtime of my life. Thank you.
So sorry I have to follow that. Almost exactly 2 years ago, I walked through the infamous walls of Archer and started my work with this class, just as you were introduced in earnest to the college process. The class of 2019 is incredibly special to me because we started this journey together, and I'm so honored that you saw fit to make sure that I could lead you to the very end. When I started writing this speech, I agonized over how to write something to speak to your experience and to speak to our experience together. I even considered writing you a personal statement. I know, college counselor life. Over the last 2 years, you've probably heard me remind you about 100 times that each of you has a different path. Though my job is technically to help you with your applications to college, my goal is really to help you identify your next step in your path. Whether that's college, a gap year, a career goal, or something else. You probably got sick of me reminding you, ladies, this is an individual process, as you insisted on comparing yourselves to other members of your class, directly and indirectly. But I wasn't kidding, or just saying it to calm you down, though I hoped it would. I was saying it because this is true of all of us. Your time together in this space was always temporary, and a moment to prepare you for a greater journey. Seeing you all up here is to see crisscross paths, and I wonder how you'll look back at this intersection at Archer. I'll share a bit of my own path. Just a few years ago, when I was a high school senior, back when Brittany and Justin were still an item and half as many rappers had Lil in front of their names, I thought high school was a thing I just had to survive to get to the good stuff. It was very different from Archer. At the time, when I got my first acceptance in December, I pulled out a suitcase, and each day I put a new item in it. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I was going somewhere, and preferably somewhere different from the DC area suburbs of Maryland, where I grew up. Going into college, I had been confident my entire life that I was going to be a doctor, an OBGYN to be specific. It took exactly 2 months of college chemistry to figure out what a silly idea that had been. It was in college, though, that I began to embrace uncertainty as opportunity, something that I wish for each of you. I changed my major 3 times, stressing out my parents, but still graduated on time. After I earned a degree with a double major in 2 seemingly unrelated things, I interviewed with the CIA, interned with the State Department, and a whole host of other things before I landed on the trajectory that eventually led me to this job. Looking back, it's entirely comical that I thought I could ever handle bodily fluids of any kind, or negotiate our country's policies and manage classified intelligence with my non-existent poker face. But all of these points in my path contributed to me landing here today. At a conference earlier this year, a psychologist, Dr. Paula Chu, spoke about understanding the layer of stress that is adolescence. She described it as a wobble. If you can picture yourself kind of leaning a bit back and forth as if on a small raft or boat in the ocean. As adults, we've gotten our sea legs and can ride most waves without much concern, though the bigger ones can still throw us for a loop. But for teens, she said, each wobble, a new event, a change, disruption, etc., can feel like that moment when you lean a little too far back in your chair and suddenly your life flashes before your eyes. We all know that moment. Whether you hit the ground or not, it's scary and unsure. Dr. Chu said for adults, we don't panic as often or to the same degree about this uncertainty because we've experienced this before. But for teens, each wobble is often brand new, and it can feel very well like the end instead of just a bump along the way. In all truth, I had real reservations about working at an all-girls school. I've never really been girly in the traditional sense. I'm forward on the facts with a whole lot of sass, minimal amounts of anything I would consider nurturing or motherly. You guys laughed way too hard at that. My past experience in the field would suggest that boys were far easier for me to manage, and my personality appeared far easier for them to digest. Though at the end of the day, this did not stop me from considering Archer, because one, let's face it, this is not a traditional girls' school, and I think that's why we're all here. And more importantly, two, I knew my own strength has been built from a foundation of incredibly powerful women that I'm lucky enough to call family, friends, and colleagues. It seemed only appropriate that I should attempt to provide that same type of support and empowerment to new generations of young women. But I was nervous. Will they hate me? Connecting with this class is what confirmed for me that I made the right choice. I'm not gonna cry. From fighting with Maya like she's my own child, chatting with Isabel Q about life, trying to get Ruby Colby to breathe and maybe tell me why she's pacing, all my talks with Ray, reading incredible pieces from Livia, Zoe, and Livy, lending my voice to Carolyn's project, getting real at the Student Diversity Leadership Conference with Danny, Sammy, Megan, and Michelle, successfully convincing Maylee to consider Texas, receiving the best pick-me-up from Sienna and Ella Fry, to getting in formation with all of you on May 1st. These are just some of my fondest memories. One of my biggest concerns coming to an all-girls school was just how many tears there might be. And as it turns out, there are so many. And that's what made your surprise of decorating our offices with your crying selfies that much more special. Because you felt like Miss Lee and I had helped you through them. That being said, I feel much of my time was spent reminding all of you that you are worthy of every good thing that comes to you, and that no matter how challenging life may get at times, you have the strength to make it through on your own. If I've learned nothing else in life, and this job in particular, it's that sometimes the right path for us is not necessarily the one we had imagined for ourselves, but eventually it will make itself known. With each twist and turn, you have to lean into that discomfort, that uncertainty, the wobble, as it were. The feeling that you might fall or fail, because each time you do, you'll be a bit stronger and wiser, more prepared to take on the next wave that sneaks up on you. In lieu of a personal statement, despite the many that we've worked on together, I hope I've offered you instead a statement on your womanhood, a testament to your resilience and your success, and a proclamation of your future badassery as you continue to forge your own path. Class of 2019, I want you to know there is no wave that can capsize you. The wobble is just part of the journey. Thank you.
We will now begin the awarding of diplomas. Zoe Ita Applebaum Schwartz. Alexandra Faith Bazarski. Madison Lauren Benfield. Emma Sion Bursch. Livia Grace Blum. Ava Leonora Bodie. Sage Elizabeth Brand Wolf. Dominique Cadenas Calvo. Marley Ella Cheney. Caitlin Kailing Chen. Marie Louise Noel Chirpita. Michelle Chiwon Chung. Ruby Lee Colby. Madison Rebecca Day. Morgan Lynn Dennis. Ella Josephine Dodd. Carolyn Frances Galloway Ediger. Ruby Hannah Ehrlich. Megan Jeannie Escobar. Sophia Fink. Sandy Frank. Beatrix Xiao Fu Freeman. Ella Havana Fry. Ray Godfredson. Emma Walker Golden. Shira Elana Goldstein. Catherine Gordon. Natalie Morel Grant. Elizabeth Lauren Haltracht. Aviva Brooke Intveld. Madeline Claire Jacobson. Lissa Rihai Kanai. Grace Ellis O'Shea Kerner. Isabel Jean Q. Isabel Lewis. Camilla Grace Marks. Jenna Diane Marks. Talia Quinn Marks. Danielle Monique McMillian. Sienna Chapman Mills. Eden Ilana Matskin. Lucy Miriam Nye. Jinwon Hannah Park. Samantha Lee Rauscher. Olivia Ann Richards. Ella Jane Solomon. Stella Rose Smythe. Yasmin Serena Sufer. My Unique South. Juliette Saint Antoine. Roxanne Elizabeth Strook. Alexa Tierney. Ella Laurie Tolman. Sarah Marie Trenkle. Kelly Tuxman. Madison Nayo Tyler. Sydney Ray Velasquez. Mackenzie Ann Williams. Maylee Monina Williams. Lola Carmel Wolf. Olivia Morgan Wolf. Zoe Colette Wolf. Juliette Mark Youssef. Olivia Caroline Graham Zeiden. I am proud to present the graduating class of 2019.
This is a time of sweet